How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
Everyone ready to learn about Nearpod?
Well, it's so ironic. Last night I was teaching the first night class at Nova, and it's a hybrid in-person class. And I asked them what type of background music should I have as the students walked in. And I kid you not, it's the exact same YouTube file that you're playing today.
Yeah, chill cal, lo-fi, hip hop.
Never heard of it before in my life, so.
It's my go-to pre-presentation music.
That's what they said. They said that's what we always listen to, one of those lo-fis as we're studying. And I'm like, I've never heard of that before. They say, oh yeah, put it for your high school kids. They'll love it. They'll know it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's nice and neutral too.
My students definitely love it too.
Katie, it's Shay. Can I ask you a quick housekeeping question?
Sure.
These trainings that you're doing are awesome and super appreciative. If there's some of the ones that you're doing this week that we can't attend, is it safe to say that at some point you'll repeat one or two or some? Obviously not all of them, but like, will we have a chance to circle back around later?
Yeah, so after I present it, I put the video in the assignment, so you can go back and watch the video.
Thank you.
And then your asynchronous option is to plan a little reflection with me. So if you couldn't come, but you wanted to do that, you could watch the video and then do an assignment with your students and then plan a reflection meeting with me, and I'll give you the PD points.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Katie, my question is, last year you did a Nearpod training. Is this going to be similar to that one or different since we're using Canvas?
Similar and different. So similar in that I will be showing like how to create a Nearpod, and then I'll be showing different in that I'll be showing how to assign it in Canvas and what the student report would look like. All right. So next. So how many of you guys have used Nearpod before? Does anyone want to share what they like about it?
I will. We converted all of our trainings for L training to Nearpod, and I like that you can upload a PowerPoint that you've already created or at least have a starting point there. And I like the different options of assessments.
All right, great.
I'll share. So something that I like that I think will be beneficial is that for instructions for a live lesson. So like if you're doing Zoom and you're doing a live lesson with students in Nearpod, but then a student is not able to attend that lesson, you can do the same lesson with that student, just self-paced by giving them the code.
Yeah, for sure. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a Nearpod. I'm going to be showing you how to assign it in Canvas and then how you'll see the grading in Canvas. So if you're a guest here today, we do have a paid Nearpod school account, so there will be some things that wouldn't apply to you if your school does not have a paid account. So just keep that in mind if you are a guest today. All right, so my staff, you should have your accounts. Most of you, if you're a returning teacher, you can log into Nearpod with your Woodbridge Google account. If you're a new teacher, I set your accounts up with your @PWCS account. So you would just log in. If you have any issues about that, just contact me later. When you log into Nearpod, this is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see your library of items, your library of presentations. You will also see school libraries. So if you create something and you wanna share it with your CLT, you can share it to the school library, and then everyone in your CLT or anyone in the school can use that presentation. So it is collaborative like that for our school, which is nice. You'll also see that we subscribe and we have 4 Nearpod contents. So these are special libraries that you can get with a school subscription. So we have the English learners set, and we just got that added that yesterday. And then we have digital citizenship and literacy. So if you're needing to do a digital citizenship activity, those are available for you. We also have college and career. So I know some of our counselors use this sometimes with the students, so this is an option. And then we also have SEL, social emotional learning pack. So these are pre-made lessons by Nearpod that you can just go in and use without having to do any planning or, creation. You can also edit these. So you can, if you like this lesson, I can add it to my library and then I can edit it once it's there. So the Nearpod library is a great place to start. Also, just in the general Nearpod library, you can search up any topic. So let's say biology, cell membrane, and you can see what pre-existing presentations there are with that. So that's a great place to start as well, instead of starting fresh if you don't want to. So there's a lot of great already ready to use content right here in Canvas or in Nearpod already. Again, I just click on this if I like this presentation. I can preview it, and then I can add it to my library. So I can just kind of skim through it and see if I like it. And again, if I like most of it, but there's stuff I don't like, I can take the stuff I don't like out and I can add my own stuff to it. So I could just say add to my library and that would bring it into my library. Any questions about the stuff available to use in Nearpod, like the pre-made stuff? Yeah, Rodney, so you would use your Woodbridge at SHS account to log in. And we can deal with personal account stuff later. All right, so I just kind of want to give you an overview of how you can create a Nearpod lesson. You have two options. So you can either create a lesson right here in Nearpod by uploading a PowerPoint, or you can create your lessons in Google Slides. There's a Google Slides add-on that you can add. So if you've been using Google Slides, you can just do all of the stuff within Google Slides. And then at the end, you'll import it here and it will all be ready to go. But I'm going to show you the view right in here. If you were to have like a PowerPoint that you would upload, how you would create your assignment. So if I wanted to create a lesson, I would say lesson in Nearpod. And I would just drag my PowerPoint right here into this screen. I'm not going to do that because it does take a few minutes to process it all. So I'm going to go to an existing presentation I have and show you the features. But literally all you have to do is drag your PowerPoint onto this and it will create all the slides. Any questions about that? All right, so I'm going to go back to an existing presentation I have and show you all the types of activities that you can add. Because that's the real power of Nearpod, is you take those PowerPoints that maybe you've been using in your classroom for a few years and you add activities to it, and then it becomes an interactive presentation. Yeah, so first you do need to create a PowerPoint or a Google Slide presentation if you're creating your own lessons. That's your starting point. All right, so I'm going to edit this lesson that I have. So I'm going to say edit. It's going to tell me that any codes that I've given will be lost, and I'm going to say, okay, I haven't used this lesson. So that means if you've been giving a live lesson or you've given the code to a student to use, you're going to lose all those codes when you go into edit mode. All right, so you can see these are all my slides. Basically what it does is it turns your slides into images, basically. So I can go into a slide. I can click on one and I can add audio. So this is really what I recommend you doing for that accessibility piece for students is you can see I can play the audio. This presentation will present you with the principles that you should follow when creating content in Canvas to meet accessibility requirements. So anything that I might say in my lecture, in my face-to-face lesson, I'm going to put in the audio. It's very simple to add the audio. Down at the bottom, you'll see the audio button. And I can just record right here in my screen. It's going to replace the current file. Fine, that's fine. And then I just click the button and record. This presentation is going to show you information about creating accessible Canvas lessons. Then I can play it, click the button and record. This presentation is going to show you information about creating accessible Canvas lessons. And I can save that audio. Then when the student's doing this in self-paced mode, they'll have that audio piece from me. And you would do that on every slide. I can also change the layout of this slide if I wanted to. So I can add another element. So now I can kind of edit what I had before. Or I can just go back to what was there before, just the picture. You can see you can also create slides. So I'll just save this one and exit. So if I was like, I uploaded my PowerPoint, I was like, oh, I really should add something else, like another slide that talks about this. I can do that right here by clicking between any two slides and add a slide. And I'm going to add content and I'm going to add a slide. And then I can just create a slide right there. So you're going to create your whole thing here, and then you're going to put it in Nearpod. It's not, you have to, if you made changes here, you would have to reassign it in Canvas. So any changes you make, you have to then reassign in Canvas. So I can make a slide here. You can see I have some themes over here I can pick from. Here I could say, and I can drag and drop any images here. But yeah, you create this, all of those slides that I had were a PowerPoint. So that's how you would bring that in first. This is just an individual slide that I've created here in Nearpod. And again, I can add audio to it. Adding audio to a slide is easy. Adding audio to a slide is easy. So you definitely want to make sure to, it will take a minute to upload before you can save it. All right, and then it will save. Any questions about the PowerPoint upload or creating a slide? If you just want to get on the mic and ask, I think it's a bit easier than that.
I have a question.
Okay.
So hopefully I can ask this right. So when you said when you're creating changes to this, you only have one copy of this. So like, let's say this is one that you use for the live lesson, but you don't necessarily want to change the live lesson one. You just want an extra one with voice over.
Right, so you would just use the same one for the live lesson, but when you start a live lesson, a thing will come up on the screen that says, do you want the audio to play on everyone's device or your own? And you'll choose your own and you just won't use it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else? Questions?
So Katie, if you are creating a lesson from a previous PowerPoint that you drag into Nearpod, did you say that if you already have previous audio, that audio is going to be replaced? If you
The audio will not come over from the PowerPoint. You have to do the audio here.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions before I move forward?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you can edit also the PowerPoint that we drop in Nearpod.
No, so your PowerPoint has to be complete before you move it over here.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Katie,
Yeah?
a PowerPoint that you've had, can it easily convert over to Google Slide and then into Nearpod?
Yes, ma'am. You can just upload it to Google and then change it to, it will turn into a Google slide.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Another quick question would be if when you're clicking and adding a slide, so clicking between two slides, does it keep the exact same format of your slides?
No, you'll see this slide was different that I just created than the PowerPoint slides.
Okay.
So you would need to go back to PowerPoint and make another slide if you want it to look exactly the same.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, now let's get into the real magic of Nearpod, and that's adding the activities. So I can click between any two slides, and I can click to add slide, and you'll see I can either add content, and these are all my content options. I can add video, I can add another slide, I can add a vocabulary video, and with our Nearpod account, you get 3 vocabulary videos per teacher. So this is where CLT collaboration can really come into play, and that like if I plan and make 3 Nearpods and my partner makes 3 and my other partner makes 3, then we could kind of use 9 throughout the year. Vocabulary videos are engaging musical videos about different topics. I'm trying to see if I can add one. Vocabulary is something you usually pay. It's another subscription. They're owned by the same company. So here I'm going to my vocabulary library and I can look up topics. You'll see this is one. You can see different topics I can look up, science. All right, and if I like this one, I can add it to my lesson. It's gonna pop up and now it's that vocabulary is in my lesson. If you have, I believe, yes, if you have a paid vocabulary account, you can use more. Yeah, but, oh, I just closed it all that. We don't have one.
Katie, I just thought of a question real quick.
Okay.
Do students have Nearpod accounts or do just the teachers and we just send them the links?
Correct. Teachers just have an Nearpod account. There are no student accounts. Okay. I'm gonna actually delete that slide. Delete this slide. All right, so getting back to what I can add. I can add slides, content, slides, vocabulary videos, 3D, that's like a 3D tour of a location. So that's really great for history or world languages, touring someplace in the world. A simulation, so PhET simulations. If you're a science or math teacher, you're probably familiar with those. Those you can embed right into these activities. Field trips are also 3D VR field trips. Desmos calculator, so for your math people, you can embed a calculator onto it into between slides. BBC video, Sway, a Microsoft Sway, which is kind of like a small little web page. Slideshow, so if you have photos, you can create a photo slideshow. You can just have a slide of audio. You can upload a PDF for them to view. They can't do anything to the PDF, so they can only view it. And then web content. So they would go to a website between looking at slides. So those are all the content, things they can view. Activities, things they can be interactive with are Time to Climb, which is kind of like a Kahoot style competitive game. Open-ended questions, so students just create their own question. Matching pairs, so students would match two things. A quiz. A Flipgrid, so they can now create a Flipgrid video right here within Nearpod. Draw it, and that's where they can draw on the screen. Collaboration, so that's kind of like our post-it parking lot where they can all put something on a wall, a little post-it with their thoughts, pictures, GIFs. Poll, so they can answer a question and they see their classmates' kind of results. Fill in the blanks, and then a memory test. In addition, you can see that I can click on any slide and I convert it to Drawlet. So this is a great way to take some of your worksheets. You can make them kind of put your worksheet into a PowerPoint slide, you know, maybe crop an image of that worksheet, put it on the slide, and then I can convert this slide to draw on it, and then any student can draw on this slide then. So that could be really helpful for math or mapping in science or any time the student's graphing. So when they're doing the lesson, they'll be able to write all over this slide and you'll see the results. So those are all the types of things that the students you can add to be activities. Any questions about those?
With that draw, will each student, like, I guess what I'm asking is, do they all draw on the same thing or does each student draw on?
Each student has their own drawing space.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's particularly good when it's a live lesson. You will see all of the students drawing at once on your teacher screen. So if it's self-paced, then you would see their results at the end.
Katie, in a live lesson with the Draw It, do you still get like an upload of what they do if they're doing it as an activity?
At the end, you can download reports of your activity of the live lesson. Yep, but you would see them drawing in real time.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Katie, can we import or bring into a slide like a Google form?
No. You could only do that if you did the web content. You could put a Google form between 2 slides.
Okay.
So you had said, sorry, one more question. You had said that the students don't log into this, right? So we either embed it in Canvas or just send them the link. There's no way for them to like get to Nearpod through Clever or anything like that. They just follow the link.
Correct. Yeah, there are no student accounts for Nearpod.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please repeat? I think I kind of missed the part that how you add the convert to draw the slide. You just click on the slide that you
just
wanna.
click on the slide that you want to make drawing, and you click on this button in the top right corner that says convert to draw it.
And it puts it right next to. Okay. Oh, I see. Is it a different slide or is it the same slide?
This was a different slide. This is
Okay.
These are 2 different slides. I changed the slide to draw it, so it doesn't remove the slide or double it. It just turns it into now a drawing activity.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That's
So
what I
that
was
can be
confused.
great for annotation.
Yeah.
You know, different types of things.
Yes. Thank you so much. That clears her up.
All right. Any other questions about stuff that you can add to your lessons?
I don't have a question about adding per se, but when students are completing a quiz, like during the lesson, can they go back and reference previous slides, or are they just stuck on that quiz page?
In the self-paced mode, they can go forward and backward in the lesson as they wish. In the live lesson, they are stuck where you have them.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if I'm done creating, I'll just say save and exit, and my lesson is ready to be shared with students. Now, there's 2 ways that you can share a lesson with students. The first way is live, and that's what you would do with them during a Zoom meeting. And the second way is student self-paced. So let's talk about the live lesson first. So again, live is what you're going to do with them either when they're in the classroom, hopefully in the spring, or online during your Zoom meetings. You would click to give them a live lesson. You would click live participation. It's going to create a code. Okay. And you'll see when it creates the code, you can get this link. What I would do is I'd copy this link and I would put it into my Zoom chat, and then the students can open the lesson right from the chat. I would also probably put this code somewhere in my Canvas classroom. That way students that may be Zooming from their mobile device can open the Nearpod on a separate device. But all you need to give them is this code. You can either say this is the code and go to nearpod.com and they enter the code, or you give them the link and they just click and go. Any questions about launching a live lesson? Okay, so if I'm the teacher and I'm doing a live lesson, this is what I'll see. And I will be able to move the arrow forward. You'll see that it says this slide contains audio. Where would you like this audio clip to be played? You're gonna say this device only for a live lesson, and make sure the little apply for the rest of this lesson is checked and you won't get this notification again. But this way, you know, if there is audio, it's just gonna play on your end and you can play it through your Zoom meeting, and you're not gonna have a cacophony of 30 kids playing their audio at different times. Any questions about that?
So Katie, if you want to speak, if you want to talk at that time, instead of putting the audio, what do you do?
Well, you'll say this device only, and you just won't play the audio. You're in control of the audio this way.
Okay.
If you said all devices, then they can all be playing the audio at their own pace.
Okay.
So the audio is really for the self-paced mode, not for the live lesson.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Katie, so if we, if there are students who don't come into the live class and we send them this, we would just change it to all devices so that they can get the audio?
No, if they were not here, you would need to send them a self-paced option. You would not send them a live option.
Gotcha.
Because you are completely in control. Like you would, literally, I have to click this arrow for their screen to move forward.
Okay.
So they would, yeah.
It would be a different thing.
Yeah, a different situation. So yes, Annette, yes, you're in control of the live lesson. I control if they move forward. I control if they move backward. Let's see, get to a video. You can see here's like a PDF they can view and they'll click and view it. Let's get to something more interactive. All right, so here's where I have a quiz. If I'm giving this in live mode, I'm gonna see all of my students' names here. I can hide their names or show their names. So if I wanted to put this up in my meeting and show people like an overall, I can hide the names so it's anonymous. But I also, after students respond, I will say share and their scores will come up on the screen and they'll see exactly how they did right away after the quiz. So that is how you can share the quiz scores with students in a live lesson. Any questions about that?
So Katie, when you click share, that means each one gonna see his own grade for that?
Correct. So you would share it after the quiz is done, like after you'll see everyone's responses are done, then you'll click share and they'll see their score and they'll see what answers were and what the right answer should have been.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a way to do that with the time to climb?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Any other questions about like sharing a quiz? Another activity that you might have that you might do is a poll. And when you click the share button for a poll, they're gonna see like a pie graph of all the class results. So they won't see like their results, they'll see the whole class's results for a poll.
Katie, if you're doing this as a live lesson, like for period 2, and then you do it again for period 4, would the period 2 stuff be gone and they would only see the period 4 answers?
Yeah, so when you go to launch a live lesson, you'll launch a different code. So if I was like done with this lesson, I would say, all right, I'm gonna go back to my, yes, I'm gonna leave. And I'm gonna say, go back and say live participation. It's gonna say, oh, you already have this one going on, or you can launch a new one. So that's how you can separate your periods.
Katie, can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you very well.
I'm sorry, I have these headphones on, I'm not used to. So just for clarification, if we do anonymous, then the students can only see their score.
If it's a quiz, they're only ever going to see their score. If it's a
Okay.
poll, they'll see everyone's kind of responses as a collective.
Okay.
Like a graph of their, 35% thought pizza was the best, 50% thought ice cream was the best, and 20% want both. They're going to see a pie graph that represents that.
Thank you.
Yep.
So Katie, so if it's a live lesson, it's better to give them the code during the Zoom meeting, right? So they don't have access to it before the class.
It doesn't really matter because if it's a live lesson, you're totally in control of what page they're viewing. So they can't do the live lesson without you clicking these arrows moving forward and backward.
That's true.
So you can put, that's why I recommend to give them the link in the Zoom or in the Canvas classroom, because some kids are going to join your Zoom lesson with their phone and they're going to have a computer where they're going to do their work. So if you put the link in to the classroom in addition to the chat, they're going to be able to access that depending on whatever device they're on.
Okay. Can you please show me how you got here again?
Sure. So I look for the lesson that I want to launch and I click live participation. Click live participation, and if I want to continue a lesson that I've been doing before, I would click that code. Or if I want to launch a new one, I would click launch new live.
Okay. And then to see the score, what do you do?
At the end of a session, so let's say we've done a session, I would go up to the 3 dots and I would look for reports, and I would see all the reports of my students' scores.
Okay, thank you.
Katie, can I ask a quick question? It's Shay.
Yeah.
What would be the benefit when you went to live lesson about at the bottom, or when you had it on live lesson, that it would continue?
So let's say I met with my Zoom class on Tuesday and we got through most of it, but I still have more to do. Then on Thursday, I could pick up that code and we could pick up where we left off.
Perfect, thank you.
So can you have more than one live lesson launched at a time? Like you'll have the code active?
Yes.
Thanks.
Katie, you could conceivably put this Nearpod slide as your like your front page for your waiting room, right? Is there logging on to Zoom?
Yep, you could. You could send the waiting room a message and say, hey guys, just get into this Nearpod. We're going to get started on it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Katie, when you say that we should go ahead and put the link in Zoom somewhere, would you suggest like we put it like into a page that says?
You mean into Canvas?
I'm sorry, yeah, into Canvas.
Yeah, I'm going to be recommending, the way my teachers are going to be doing Zoom meetings is we're making assignments for it now that all of our classes are like these huge monster classes. And so I'm going to recommend that they have like the Zoom link and then any links the student needs for that meeting. Like, so, any Nearpods, any Kahoots, like any link that a kid might go to, put those in the assignment, and then they can have access to everything they might need. And then afterwards, that's where the teacher will also put the recording.
Okay.
Or you could put it as the links in Canvas as an announcement. Like, here's the stuff we're going to do today. Here's the links if you need them. All right, so let's talk now about a self-paced lesson. So self-paced lessons are ones that students can do on their own. They get to move forward and back through the lesson at their own pace. And so this is ideal for, kids do the Nearpod and then they come to your class time and you can discuss and do problem solving. So this is like the kind of the flipped classroom method of Nearpod. And you don't start a self-paced lesson from here. We are going to start the self-paced lessons from inside Canvas. So you create everything here, and then we're going to go to Canvas to assign the self-paced lesson. And I'm going to show you that now. So in my Canvas classroom, I'm going to create an assignment. I'm going to be a new assignment. Actually, I have one that I want to use. Cancel. So I created a Nearpod example assignment. So I'll show you the steps to creating this external tool assignment. So I would give my assignment a title, and I would give any other directions in this box that I want my students to have. I would assign it the number of points. And this is going to be a formative assessment. And then the important part here is the submission type. I'm going to select external tool. Then I'm going to click find. And I'm going to look in my list of external tools for Nearpod. So I have Nearpod. So your ITC should have installed, if you have a school account, installs this at the school level, and you will see Nearpod available in your account. So I'm going to click Nearpod. And my library is going to come up here. I'm going to see all of my things that I've created. So if I want to launch this one as a self-paced, if I want to assign this to them, I'm going to say self-paced. And then I'm going to say select. I can give it a due date, just like any other assignment. And then I will say save. You'll see that the Nearpod will actually be on the screen for the students to complete, so they don't have to go to another website. They can do everything right in here.
Can you embed a live lesson or just a self-paced?
Yeah, you can do a live lesson as well. But I think it's probably just a little easier to put it in the Zoom chat. And so your students can start here and they can just click and they have the access to do it themselves. You'll also see students have this option for notes. So they can take notes while they watch or do the Nearpod, and they can save it automatically to their Google Drive or their OneDrive. And it does save next to each note they make a picture of the slide or an image of the slide. So they would have a copy then of this presentation by doing the notes feature. So that's something you can point out to your students to do as they do these self-paced lessons.
Katie, do they need a code for the self-paced?
No, that's built into when they don't need any code. They're just going to see their name there and they'll just start.
Yes. Thank you.
As long as you assigned it this way, the code is part of that assignment.
Can they start and then come back and finish?
Yes, they definitely can. With that said, once they start, it's going to look to you like they've turned it in. So let me talk about that. So here, I've been using this for some staff PD. So this teacher started the lesson, but I can see that they didn't do anything because their scores are zeros and they have no free responses. So it's going to show no answer. So I'm just going to like not grade this at all. I'm just going to wait till they come back and do it and finish it later. But I can go to another teacher and see if they've done theirs. Let's see if we have someone who has some reports. So this is the really nice thing about the LTI is that you're going to get an individual report for each student. So you'll see their quiz grades, you'll see their participation, you can see all of their free response questions. When you do those live lessons, you're going to get one report for the whole class. And that's like traditionally how Nearpod works, is you get that one report for the whole class. But when you do the LTI, you get their individual answers.
Katie, can you? It takes more than one, goes through it more than once and redoes the quiz.
If they do it more than once,
yeah.
You're going to see that you're going to just see, like, let's see if I go back to Kim.
I did it more than once if you want to look at me for that accessibility.
Okay, let's see. What plant? Oh, I think I've already graded yours. I don't see yours. Yeah, see, to me, it hasn't shown that you've done it yet. So that's interesting.
That is interesting because I definitely did it twice.
Cool, good to know. But yeah, so you'll see you should see an individual report for each person.
Is it, Katie, this is under the gradebook speed grader?
Yep.
Thank you.
So when I go over this assignment, if it's been done, I can click on speed grader and then I would see my students' scores. I look for each person's individual one.
Katie, is there a way to see if a student has done it, completed the Nearpod, or only done maybe, let's say, 50%? Or would you have to log in and go back, look again and again and again until they've actually done it?
Sorry, you're going in and out. Can you speak more clearly, or
no,
put
just
your microphone
wondering,
close to your mouth or something?
Well, I'm trying. I'm going to do self-paced Nearpod lessons with my students, and instead of having to click in and out all the time to find out have the student actually completed it or not, is there a way to see whether they have done it or not done it?
No, you can only just come in here and look. You could have another assignment or somewhere where you could say, hey, just message me when you've done it, and then I'll go grade it. But
yeah,
no.
Otherwise, it could be a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, but if you make a due date, then, I would just if I have a fine due date on here, I just put 0 and be like, I haven't gotten it from you. It doesn't look, or I'd put a comment, doesn't look like you finished it yet. And then that would prompt them to go do that. Because remember, due dates are going to be very, very fluid in this online learning situation.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
We actually do not have Nearpod at my school, but if I were to have my own account, would this be something that I could put in the submission type, or would it have to be something that I'd have to talk to my IT about?
You have to have a school account to use the LTI.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Katie,
Any other questions? Yep.
Are the reports also available on Nearpod so that if I wanted, like if there was a poll or something, I could see the like collective thing on Nearpod?
Self-paced, let's see. View progress, let's see. It's a good question, I don't know. I'm the only person that did that one. I'll have to look into that and find out.
Thank you.
Katie, you had said we could download reports during the live lesson. Could you show how we do?
Yep. So if I had a live lesson, I would click, go to reports. And it's going to fetch my data. I have to click here and I would see any reports that I have. I can click on the report and I can view it here, or I can download it as a PDF or a CSV spreadsheet.
Perfect.
Now I do want to touch on one more thing before we go, and that is the new video feature. So it's an Edpuzzle-like feature. And so you can go to the video and create a video lesson now. I think that Edpuzzle is still the stronger tool for this job, but it's certainly something you can do here in Nearpod. So they have some pre-made videos, or you can look and upload any video from YouTube. So you can just search your YouTube video, biology, let's see what comes up. It will give me videos that I search for. I can put in the URL, the web address. And if I want to use this, I'm going to click it and say save. It's going to take the video and it's going to now let me add questions. So anywhere I click, I can click this add activity and I can add open-ended questions or multiple choice questions. The thing that I don't like is that the captions don't come over from YouTube. In Edpuzzle, the captions do come over. So that's why I feel it's a stronger tool. Can you edit the video? No, you cannot edit the video. You can just add questions to it.
Would you be able to do a voiceover for the questions and such since you can't do the captions?
No, but that's something you can do in Edpuzzle. And in Edpuzzle, you can also trim videos. So again, that's why I feel Edpuzzle, which I'm having a training for at 2:30 on Friday, because we have a school account for that. And I'll show you those tools then.
So Katie, I know you can integrate the Edpuzzle videos into Nearpod, but if you want to grade them, you will have to grade them separately from Nearpod, right? You would have to go to Edpuzzle and find how they did on that particular video.
Yep.
Yeah.
You would. And I think adding Edpuzzles as an external tool in Canvas is great, and I'll show that on Friday because the grading is really easy and it syncs with the Canvas gradebook. So I would probably avoid putting Edpuzzle videos in a Nearpod or adding them as a page, and I would just do them as a separate assignment. All right, so I have a Canvas training in about 15 minutes that I have to lead. So I'm gonna put the attendance in the chat for my guests. People that are here at my school, you do not need to fill this out. This is just for guests. But otherwise, hopefully that kind of gave you a good overview of Nearpod. And my teachers, you know how you can schedule a meeting with me if you wanna do a one-to-one and you're having a problem doing it. But are there any questions for the whole group?
So Katie, when you score any assignment, it goes right in the grade book, right?
Yeah, so yes, I'll show you. So if I was grading, I see their score here. Then I would put
Yes.
their grade right in this box, and that would be in the grade book.
Katie, I
Okay.
had a question about that too. I got interrupted by one of my children. I'm very sorry. And if you can just go back, like I got the whole Nearpod thing that you did, and I'm taking notes, but when you put it in there, like you said, the self-paced, do you click live? Can you just go back one step and show me what you click? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have to go to another training, so that's what I kind of need a restroom.
It's
break.
right there. That's all you do is just click speed grader. That's where I was.
Yeah. You click speed grader, it will take you to this where you'll see each individual report.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Yep. Any other overarching questions? All right, so this recording will be in the our